Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers third party review. In today's video we're taking a look at X-Transbots' recoloration of their masterpiece Trailbreaker. He's designed to look kind of more animation accurate, following along the same sort of lines as the new MP Optimus Prime. I've tried to give us that whole kind of Autobot roll call situation going on here. It looked a lot better in my head than what it's come out. But to give you an idea, obviously we've got Jazz doing the roll call here. And if I was to have them all transform up, Ironhide would suddenly then become Ratchet. Gotta love G1 continuity errors. But I just thought I would start by showing you how he would look alongside some of your other characters. I still need to get myself the likes of the Bad Cube, Sideswipe and Red Alert, just because even though Takara released they kind of these animation inspired versions, I still think Bad Cube hit the nail on the head. Whether that was the death of Bad Cube or not, that remains to be seen, but I still need to get those. I do think they were very much in keeping with this new kind of animation style, and of course I do need to get the animation kind of repaints of Prowl and Wheeljack, etc. But for now, this is a pretty decent lineup. Right, now here we have him alongside his original coloration. Still my favourite version of Trailbreaker. Don't get me wrong, the Fans Toys one they teased, what, 6-7 years ago? No, only joking. That they teased a couple of years ago, it does still look good. But whether or not that's going to be released anytime soon, I don't know. But I do like what X-Transbots are doing. Some say they are rinsing their molds, and hey, it's their molds, so why not? Personally, I like the fact that we're getting options. There is an option to give this a kind of a toon version. There's an option to give it a toy inspired version. This is a pre-production sample. This has come over from Megalock, so this has already been through the rounds, had his tolerances tested. I believe there's a little bit of damage that's been sustained to one of his hands. Still to kind of find the actual flaw in that, but it's just a warning that it's come with. This has now actually been released, and it started shipping from China, the final versions with all of the tweaks. This particular model was sent to me directly from Tiger Blade Customs, who's been messing around with it prior to me. I will order this particular model myself because I do like having a toy version and a toon version, and this is a very toon inspired color scheme, and then we could stick the toy inspired head etc on the original. Bad Cube done an okay job with their alternative to this, but I just think X-Trans did a better job. They managed to make Hoist and Trailbreaker look very different with minimal transformation changes, and this particular coloration straying away from the jet black with more of this kind of charcoal color, and then these gleaming white. They've done a really nice job. As far as accessories go, we do get the same accessories again, though done in this new paint scheme. We've got the toy style head, and we've got all the various different accessory pieces, like the wooden stump. We've got radars and various different pieces. We've got that tree trunk there as well. If you hit the information bar up there, you can view the original review of Trailbreaker, and you can see exactly how all of these accessories look. They've done the hands differently. Now, as you may or may not know, X-Trans and KFC sister companies. They share factories, etc., and sometimes share design staff, but not all the time. Now, originally with this Trailbreaker, we had the KFC style super articulated hands, which were nice, but we did tend to lose limbs. Now this time they've opted more for the kind of MP-10 style hand, very actually in keeping with what we're getting with most Masterpiece figures at the moment. So we've got that curved thumb, and we've got a separate trigger finger, but these are all both still on this same pin, so they're not as articulated anymore, but still very nice solid hands nonetheless. And much like we get with the MP44. We got these very kind of cartoon, overzealous face sculpts. Personally, I like them. I think they've done a really clean, tidy job. Taking a closer look at some of his detail, I really do love this kind of smoked grey that they've used as opposed to the black. He looks very happy as well, and they've got this nice blue tint on here, again to give it that kind of animation inspiration. The legs are a lot more kind of solid. There's a nice mix of die cast, etc. as well. The joints have been redone. We do have some nice motion forwards and backwards. We have kind of a friction joint out to the side now. There is still some thigh swivel in there. I know originally we had a similar sort of motion, but I don't know, it just kind of really cleans up better on the newer version, and the knees seem to lock in a lot nicer as well. We've got a lot of motion on the original. The newer versions tidy up really nicely as well, and kind of lock in a little bit better. Really nice solid pieces up and down on the toe. Shoulders, we can come around out to the side on a soft ratchet. We do have a rotation there on the elbow. Single bend on there, would like the double bend, beggars can't be choosers I guess. And we have a rotation on those wrists. Head can go up and down. We can look left and right. Nice range on there. There's enough going on with this kind of like butterfly shoulder joint as well to get some nice poses. Still not the strongest of joints, I don't think, this section here being pinned in, but it's not an ugly joint. And I mean, as far as big guys go, he's about the same sort of size as Ironhide, but he's a lot more agile. I mean, I know it's not the most attractive of poses, but it gives you an idea. I mean, with the upper thigh bend as well, we do kind of have almost a very kind of Tai Chi style pose there. He's getting a good stretch as well. I mean, majority of people, I imagine, are going to have these in pretty much kind of static pose. But it's nice to know that these can bend, twist, and be displayed without any fear of breakage. Now, for a big guy as well, I think his profile tidies up pretty nicely. It's not the hugest of backpacks there. I would have liked an abdominal crunch to be incorporated, but I think that's something that would be incredibly difficult for them to do. I just can't see how they would manage to get that in there as well, but that's just me. I would have liked one to have been present, but we still have that nice drop down on those shoulders, as well as the ability to go up. We can kind of swing that forwards and backwards, so we can make those look very natural. Like I said, as a preference, I would like maybe some form of abdominal crunch shoved in there just to kind of finish it off. And for those of you curious, the application to the front panel of the head is very straightforward. Single screw holds that panel in. Just pop the visor back through, and we can pop this in whichever head we see fit. It goes in from the rear. There we go, just pop that through. There we go, there's the changed head. And rather than switch out the entire head, if you're going to switch out for this piece, the neck is mounted on a mushroom peg. So we just remove that from this mushroom joint on the neck piece, bring that forwards, rather than dismantling that whole head. I did that with my original version and I lost half of the pieces, so it's nice to know that that's not necessarily the case. If you want to switch out the head, just use that mushroom peg. Right, as gorgeous as he does look in his robot mode, let's get him transformed up now. It's It's been a while since I've transformed one of these, so I have to go off memory, so I don't think I have the instructions to hand. Basically we want to flip his hands inside the crevice, and this nozzle piece does in fact split, so we can bring that around and just pop that nicely flat on the inside like so. That just separates as well, and there's a hinge on this arm. You want to hinge those up to that rather peculiar angle, and again on this side let's just open up this fist panel, and just going to rotate, going to fold on the inside, bring these arms up, come around to the torso. I want to untab the back panel, flip his butt skirt upwards, filling in the void, and then from the front want to just untab that hinge. Love the fact that we've got the turbo 4-wheel drive section all kind of brought out and highlighted now as well. And from here we can now lock these wheels outwards. Love these nice kind of rubber wheel sections here. The head is going to rotate, and much like we had with the original, the clearance is somewhat minimal, but it's there nonetheless. You see this gap here? That's where the head is going to come through. You want to tilt that forwards on the neck, so he's kind of got a chin, and it just, as long as it's square and pointed down, it will slide through said void and come all the way around, and just comes down, straightens up, and then comes down and locks into that position. Now these can then be brought around like so, and brought around like this. These are meant to be straight like so, and these sections here are meant to kind of fold in and around the door frame, keeping it nice and tidy, so that when we bring them down, kind of just wrap in, so that when we bring this section in, it should come in and just push and tab into there. We can then rotate this around, and this tucks in nicely like so. Come around to the back of the truck, these sections come out. There's a little tab just on the end here. You want to undo that for now. This will all eventually tab back in, but for now we just want to move that out of the way. Right, we're going to come around to these feet. I think this is actually an area that they've actually really improved. This section will come up, and you want to just get underneath here. This is going to lift this panel up. This needs to be straightened up like so. Come around to these tires. You've got a lot of going on inside here, but there's enough clearance with this section pushed up. This will come out like so. This will then rotate, and it's on a double hinge. So as we kind of unfold this piece here, this will then come around like this. You can see there's a lot going on in there, and with this kind of void section here, you want to bring the toe in. This panel here is going to open up, and that comes across, and where we've got this kind of section here which is very empty now, this is going to come up, and we're going to kind of bring this panel upwards and double hinging this down. That's going to sit nicely on the inside of the leg, and you want to make sure that this hinge here just kind of clicks into place. That's going to come all the way up and click in. Now we can kind of start putting these legs where they should be. Now this particular piece here isn't the easiest to show on camera. I've done it with this side. Basically we've got a hinge up at the thigh here. That's going to be one of the hinges that we bend, and then we've got this hinge at the base here. You want to make sure that that base hinge is hinged in, so that's kind of all the way down, and then this hinge here is going to rotate, and as long as this piece here ends up on the outside, we should be able to line it all, line it all up. Easier said than done, mind. So what you need to understand is that when these hinges are spot on, this is going to come down, and there's this void just in here. This is where these wheels will come down, and because we're amazing and we got this perfectly square, we're going to be able to fit this in and around, and this is all going to tab in, he says. There we go, that's nice and tidy. Really does tidy up well, doesn't it? These pieces here are going to fold on the inside of the windows. And then this is all going to push down and secure such a tight fit. Go, that's in, that's in, that's in at the front there. This one's tabbed in at the front of the mirror. That's all in crazy firmly, and this back section is just going to come down. That's going to tab in on those back windows. There we go. My goodness me, this is such a tight piece. And then fold that crotch panel down as well. And there we have one Trailbreaker in all of his glory, and he does look exceptional. I mean, there's something the X-Transbot always do with their vehicles, and they look sensational. We've got these wing mirrors which can be brought up like so. I just absolutely adore it. I personally like the black version, but this is, in my opinion, leaps and bounds better. It's a more accurate piece. I don't really know what else could have been done to make this any better. It's a sensational looking piece. And for those of you wanting to know what he looks like with the MP10, MP10's definitely looking a bit dated when we have figures like this. The 44, yes, probably would look a little bit better. But I think this is sensational work by the guys at X-Transbots. They've done a really great animation style figure and made a vehicle mode which is still incredibly lifelike and works exceptionally well. We've got the really nice detailing, great paint applications. Got the turbo logos, got the lights on the front there. I do apologise that I'm sounding really rough in this video. My children catch pretty much everything going at school, and then sharing is caring. They then pass it on to me. So whatever they get, I end up getting as well. So I'm trying to dose myself up for videos, but I do apologise if I sound dog rough. There is a reason for it. But yes, this is the pre-production sample version of AEGIS done in the animation style. Personally, my opinion, just my opinion, this is leaps and bounds better than the first version. The first version was good, but this is sensational. It really does look the part. Transformation is still pretty much the same. It's not the easiest, but when it tabs in, it really does tab in. It's a very firm piece. Feels very much like a dinky toy or like a Matchbox solid lump, and if we didn't know that it transforms, then we really wouldn't have any idea. Thanks again to Omega Lock for making this review possible. Cheers for Tiger Blade for sending this on to me to give my thoughts, and until next time, from myself and Trailbreaker, thanks for watching. Goodbye.